Grace got you. It's okay. I'll take the strawberry.
Yeah. Kanpai.
Kanpai. Kanpai. Kanpai.
Nice.
Amazing. Well, everyone, welcome to Lore. For those of you, it's your first time here. Welcome, welcome. We're super grateful to Grace and the rest of the amazing team at Lore for welcoming us into their space today. We're also really grateful to Leimert Park for welcoming us into the neighborhood today. So whose first time is in Leimert Park? I wonder if anyone's a first timer? Oh my gosh, that's great. Oh, Crystal also, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Leimert Park, everyone. Unfortunately, some of the spots are closed, but everything around here is amazing. I love Cafe Aura across the street. Amazing business owners over there, great work from home space. Next door, Haroon is also awesome. A great little secret listing room as you go through a secret door through Haroon. And they also have some great museums and theaters in this neighborhood. So strongly encourage all of y'all to follow one of our friends, We Love Leimert, who has a great Instagram account, always sharing the events happening here, and to discover and explore this amazing neighborhood. I wonder who here is here because they're a fan of Crystal K.
Come on now.
Okay, and who here is a fan of Ryan Alexander Holmes? Aww, okay. I'm really glad that you guys are all here. Today's event is made possible by the future downstairs, but also because of all of our amazing community partners and members, PacSun, Suntory, as well as Lore, Haroon, and JX, Japan Crossover, have all worked together tirelessly to create today's community event because we thought that the Asian American experience is not complete without including all of our Blasian brothers and sisters as a part of Asian American History Month. And so it's really important to us that when Uprisers had the opportunity to celebrate this month, that we're like, you know, we got to tell all of our stories. And so it's really exciting because today we have Ryan Alexander Holmes here, who is not only an amazing content creator and spokesperson for the community, he also has a community platform called Bloom the Movement. Do you want to share a little bit what Bloom the Movement is?
Yeah, I put Black people with Asian people together, like my DNA, and we celebrate each other.
Yeah. So if you fit in that category, go find Ryan later because he wants to make more friends, and that's why he started his own club. And we also have the amazing Crystal K, singer, talent, actress, great friend to me and to many others. And she's in LA now, just slaying all through the United States, was on a tour last year.
And some of them are here that came to the tour.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, those are the hardcore fans. All the way to Leimert Park. How do you feel about doing the tour last year and now you're here in this neighborhood for the first time and hanging out with Blasians?
I know. Blasian Nation, stand up. It feels surreal because I barely got to travel to the US other than work. So to travel like that, we did, I think, 8 cities last year. And it was so fun getting to meet my fans for the first time, basically. And to be back so soon and working with you. We went to college together in Japan. Yeah. For the first time, working together for the first time.
What took so long?
I don't know. But it kind of feels like a full circle moment. Yeah.
No, for sure. I mean, for those of you who don't know, so I went to school in Japan and I went to university with Crystal, and I did not know she was the superstar that she was when we met. I just thought she was kind of this like weirdly awkward but cool human being in my class that, had pretty decent notes as well. And we became friends. But I was so shocked when I heard her speaking in Japanese. I was like, why is this Black girl speaking Japanese so fluently? And then I found out she's she's like raised in Japan her whole life. I'm half Japanese, and I was like, whoa, this is so cool. I want to be like her. I want to speak Japanese this fluently. Share a little bit about your background and all the languages you speak and where you grew up, because it's fascinating.
Thank you. I was born and raised in Japan. I'm from Yokohama. And, Yokohama? Oh, yes, Yokohama. We're more than just Yokohama tires. We got the biggest Chinatown in Japan, I think. Yeah. Beautiful place. And I grew up in Negishi. And my father was in the military. So my dad's from Jersey. And, and my mom's third generation Korean, born and raised in Japan. And I went to American school. That's why my English is okay. And I started working at 4. Like I started doing commercial jingles when I was 4 years old, and it was fun. So I kept doing that. And when I was 12, 2 of the commercials got in a lot of calls. So then we decided to turn it into a full song. And that became my first single, which I performed tonight. And it's been 27 years now.
Wow, 27 years in the industry, y'all. Let's give it up for her. Amazing.
And it's surreal to be here and to see people that hear my music or listen to my music in the States. So this is really special. Thank you for having me.
We're so happy to have Crystal here today. For those of you who don't know, I mean, in addition to doing some amazing songs and music, she's also done soundtracks for like Pokemon and like Fullmetal Alchemist and lots of other stuff that's much more well-known in the US. And Ryan, on the other hand, is not from Japan, doesn't speak Japanese, but he does rep his communities and cultures really well. Share a little bit about where you're from and where you grew up and the languages that you speak.
I'm from Los Angeles. I was like, where's the pot? Yeah. I grew up in San Gabriel Valley with the Asian community. Grew up going to Chinese school on the weekends, AKA jail. They would just drop me off and I would suffer for the whole day. And I remember the first day that I went, I didn't speak like Chinese fluently. And that didn't matter. They didn't speak any English all day. So it was like trial by fire. And I'm still traumatized from it. But yeah, I grew up with my father and mother. My father is African-American from the deep South, Jacksonville, Florida. My mother is an immigrant. Shout out to immigrants that get the job done. What else did you want to know?
How many languages?
How many languages do you speak?
I speak Chinese pretty well. But yeah.
And you learned that all at Chinese school?
I learned that at Chinese school. I also, my grandma, who is the star of my Instagram channel, it's not even about me. Everyone talks about her every time they see me. She doesn't speak English, so I have to communicate to her in Chinese. And she corrects and shouts at me all the time. So it's a very fun experience for me. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to go off on a tangent because I will.
Yes, you will.
Yeah,
we
so
know
I'm
this.
gonna stop right there. Yeah.
I forgot. I speak English and Japanese and Korean. I'm learning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's learning Korean now, you guys. I think there's probably a lot of people who already follow you guys on social and those that don't. Ryan already mentioned that people follow him on social media not for him, but because his family is super adorable and cute. And Crystal also has a mom who's reversing backwards. When you see her, you're like, that person has a child? That's an adult? It's amazing. Crystal, share a little bit about your mom and the influence she's had on you and the kind of person she is, because she's amazing.
My mom is amazing. She's hood.
Yeah.
But she basically raised me as a single mother, and she's also a singer. She started singing when she was 16. She left the house, started singing at clubs, self-taught English, and I'm sure it was tough as a Korean in the 80s, raising a half-Black baby alone, navigating through the music industry, and actually declining her first singing contract because she was pregnant with me. Yeah, and she got another opportunity to debut when she was 30, and just a few years after that, I debuted. Yeah, so I can't imagine at like 33 or 30. She had me when she was 23. When I was 13, 36. My daughter coming out as a singer and like, feeling conflicted. Like I want to support her, but I'm also a singer, and all of that. But she's been amazing. We have our own company. At one point, she was managing me. So she was my boss, she was my mom, she was my dad, she was everything. But also I'm an only child, so we're kind of like this. And she is the biggest critique, but also the biggest cheerleader. And I feel really grateful to have a senpai, 선배님. How do you say? Mentor, I guess. And someone I could look up to as a singer, this close to home. So many things as a performer, you have to kind of trial and error and figure out through the years. But having someone that close, you can be like, oh, I can't do this. She'll be like, oh, just do this. And it's just fixed like that. So yeah, I love her. She's great.
Oh man, let's give it up for moms, y'all, especially those who are, putting their kids' dreams ahead of their own, because that's the real dream, right? To make sure your family's taken care of. Ryan, what about you? Is there a family member that you feel is just like had like a huge impact on your life, that every time you think about the decisions you make or the opportunities you have, it's really because of them?
Yeah, it's definitely my parents, for sure. I mean, they both got disowned by their families when they got married. This is like LA riots, LA. Post LA riots I grew up in. But my father's family didn't come to the wedding. My mother's family didn't come to the wedding. And then when I was born, I was really cute. And so I united the whole family just by being born. But it's funny, like what they went through and how they still stayed together. And, I have two older brothers. Our nucleus is very, very strong. And I think they taught me a lot of really resiliency and also not to care what other people think, because like the lane that I occupy in social media, like I'm not the first Blasian to ever exist, I think, and not the only mixed person to exist. But I think the way that I talk about that is empowering because of how my parents raised me. They would always tell me that I'm 100% both and to carry myself that way. Because if you don't, like society is going to try to force you into a box. I remember when I was growing up, you couldn't check more than one box. So I was like, oh, how am I feeling today? Am I feeling Asian today?
The other boxes for us.
Am I feeling other today? So yeah, like I think a lot goes back to them. I think, also my grandma and my grandpa raised me, on the Chinese side, and my grandma and my grandpa on my black side too, when we go to Jacksonville, so I always felt like a very strong sense of who I was culturally from within my family, so that it prepared me for when I stepped outside and they were like, you're Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? Because of how I look. So yeah, I would say or Dominican. I was just in New York, they speak Spanish to me. I'm like, damn, I feel like I'm at home, but I don't know what you're saying. But yeah, my parents, that's who I would say.
It's amazing. Well, give it up to Ryan's parents for having a cute baby that bridged the family. For those of you guys who might not know, I don't know how you wouldn't though, Crystal just released an amazing single, which is already trending all through the Spotify charts, and people are talking about because it's in partnership with an amazing.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your relationship with that family.
Oh my. So I think I met her when I was about 17 when there was an Mnet Music Awards in Korea. Yeah. And I think that was my first time or second time going, and I met her and we had dinner. And I think we knew of each other. It's like, oh, it's kind of like that Spider-Man meme.
It's like a Ryan video where the Blasians spot each other in the wild.
And I just knew of her, and I guess she knew of me, and we always kept in touch, but we never had a chance to work together. And this past 2 years, I've been going to Korea a lot more to try to connect more with my culture and also to expand as a performer. So I started learning Korean, but I got in touch with her again because I performed at Son Si-kyung's concert, this huge ballad singer, amazing singer. And we're like, okay, we got to link, we got to talk. So I went to her studio, her and Tiger JK, her husband, who's also a dope rapper. And we just chatted for hours, listened to music, and we were like, okay, we have to do something. And I think it was after that I recorded Only One in Korea. And then for 2 years, I was like, I want to release this, but the label was like, and then finally, they decided to release it. And I was like, yes, but it's missing one thing. And I hit up Tasha and was like, hey, I have this track and I think you would complete the song. So would you please rap on it? And she was like, of course, sis. And she hopped on it and made it perfect. She did that. And yeah, we got to shoot the video in Korea and she was in it. And I let my natural hair out and just, it was kind of cool to, I don't know, shoot a video and sing and everything done in Korea like that. And I'm singing in Korean, English, and Japanese on this track. So thank you. It was a really special moment, and I really hope. I'm really surprised at the reaction it's getting. Like, it's getting so many.
I'm not. Yeah.
Thank you. From Koreans and as well as like so many Americans. I'm wondering, they're like, oh yes, the Blasian Queens unite. Like, finally. So it was kind of surreal, but I really hope it turns into everyone's summer song, summer anthem. And yeah.
I mean, that's amazing about music, right? It's like you have a teenager who's trying to figure out their identity and they start listening to some song and suddenly they're like, I feel seen, I feel heard.
Yeah.
This speaks to me, or someone that just, something about it like helps them feel like a little bit less alone, right? I know last year you went on your tour, 25-year anniversary tour, and you met so many of your fans for the first time. Were there any songs that they told you were like their anthem, or you were surprised that so many of them were like, I listened to this song, or, you know, they were like, this really helped me in some kind of way?
I think Motherland. Because there are so many anime fans too. And Motherland was ending. It was an ending, right? Why am I asking you?
She knows. She knows.
Yeah. For Full Metal Alchemist. And also, of course, Pokemon. There's a song called One. So yeah, a lot of them are like, oh, you were the reason I went to Japanese college, like, or I learned Japanese, and so many people were fluent in Japanese. It was so surreal. Or like, oh, I've been listening to you since I was 11. I'm like, how old are you? But I realized that the majority of my fans in the States, they're Black. Yeah. Yeah. And I was like kind of surprised and shocked in a good way, because I didn't know I had an impact in that way. And they're like, thank you for helping me be seen, helping me feel seen, because I never grew up in the States. So I'm like, how did they find me? How are they connecting with me in this way? And so it was such a warm, fuzzy feeling. Like DC, the crowd was so crazy. They made me cry. I started crying. Yeah, it was so emotional. Oh my God, thinking about it makes me want to cry. Yeah.
Is that some more kiwi? Or
Yeah.
Throw that back. Ryan, I know you're not a singer, but I know you love
I can sing.
music.
You want to hear?
I bet you
I
can.
mean, yeah, okay, he's all right. Ryan can definitely sing. Do you have a song that for you is like something that kind of has impacted you, or something that you go to, or really has shaped you in any kind of way?
I mean, the first song that pops into my mind is Changes by Tupac. I remember hearing that for the first time. And being like, how's the song start? I wake up in the morning and ask myself, is life worth living? Should I blast myself? Hearing that as a 10-year-old, I was like, what's going on with this guy? And it launched me down a course of like, really investigating his work, and seeing what he was about. And because the topics that he talked about, I feel like, a lot of hip hop artists, like that was mainstream. He was at the top. And I don't think the topics that he talks about are at the top anymore, I don't want to get into that. But, I tend to listen to like a lot of 90s hip hop more so than today. But yeah, the themes that he talked about, I mean, his whole catalog, he had some regressive songs. We don't have to talk about those. But like Keep Your Head Up and Brenda's Got a Baby and Changes and, really changed my life at the time because I was growing up in a former sundown town, if you can believe it, in the suburbs of Los Angeles. And the DARE officer, I remember he would bully me. I was the only black kid. Well, my brother, but we're both half black, so that's one black kid in the whole school district. And I just remember how the police would treat us because our neighborhood that we grew up in was like the safest town, considered one of the safest towns in California. And I'm like, safe for who? Because y'all keep harassing me and my brothers. You know what I mean? But I think listening to Tupac really made me feel seen, and made me understand that I wasn't crazy, in that like these systemic issues do exist and they persist. And my father also told me, he said that like when he went to buy the house in our city, he sent my mom in to do it. And then when
You thought Asians would have more chances?
well, they did, because we got the house. And then when they saw our black asses move in, it was too late. So yeah.
They were like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like, oh damn, you already but we got their money though. Yeah.
Man, it's crazy, right? When we think about, I mean, neither of you guys are that old, but you can even know in your own lifetime the things that your parents have gone through in order to give you guys better opportunities, so you don't have to go through the same thing they're going through, right? I feel like, music is one way that we have these opportunities to kind of shape and form or be seen or see people. Fashion, I think, and is the same way for a lot of people as well. The things that we wear, Uprisers likes to say, is what you wear is what you represent, whether it's thinking thoughtfully about who makes the clothes, the labor behind it, where it's sourced, or the designs on the pieces. Crystal today is actually wearing a one-of-a-kind piece by Uprisers that was made from upcycling some denim from PacSun. It's a beautiful piece. It looks great on you. They were working on it until late last night to make sure it was available for today. And there were certain pieces, like the glove was a request by Crystal as well. And there is something that I always think about when I think about fashion, or I think about mementos or tokens, right? We have these things that we receive from our parents or our grandparents, we hold on to, we wear, or we integrate into our fashion or our style. I know Ryan is very fashionable, so I'll start with him first. But Ryan, do you have anything that like you like to integrate into your fashion that you feel like either represents your culture or is something that you just feel is you just like, I'm gonna keep it. If it breaks, I'm gonna repair it. I'm gonna like hold on to this for a while, or something that you just really enjoy wearing because it helps you feel like.
Yeah, I since I started creating content, like I never thought of myself as like having my own style, because I modeled for like 10 years, but when I was modeling, like I was the color, the only person of color. I think the modeling scene has changed a lot and I'm happy for that. But when I was going, I was just like in a sea of white, and they never knew what to do with my hair. And I just wore the clothes that they told me to wear, And back then I was so happy to be accepted. You guys think I'm beautiful? But now I'm like, man, I've changed from like fashion to like personal style and sort of prioritizing that. So I always wear like a piece of jewelry. This is Lupin, Grace's. Do you guys know Grace? Lupin Connection. She started a Korean jewelry brand that I make sure that I wear every day. I usually have more pieces. I should have worn them because I forgot that you were going to ask me this question. And I also wear a ring that has like Chinese script on it that I got with my grandma when we went to like a Chinese jewelry store in like where we're from. But there's always a piece of that with me wherever I go. And I always make sure that whatever I wear is like what I want to wear, not what I think other people want me to wear. And that took me a long time because I was lobotomized by the modeling industry. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of what we're shown, or when we think about colonialism, right? The erasure of identity is a priority number one. And so every chance we have an opportunity to take control of our own identity is an opportunity to kind of take back what's taken from us. I wonder, Crystal, I see you wear fashions from the US, from Japan, from Korea, traditional, cultural, but also modern. Do you have any pieces that have really spoken to you, or anything that you wear, you keep that's really special?
Oh man, I have this really cute yukata I wore every year.
Summer kimono.
Yeah, summer kimono. When I was a kid, we used to always go to Bon Odori, like a Obon festival. They would have a big one on the base. So I think that would be one of the days they opened up the base to outside.
Non-military.
Yeah. Thank you.
The outside of the base.
And yeah, I would just be dancing, yoy yoy, and I can't throw that away. Mom.
Do you remember the songs you danced to?
Tsuki ga deta deta, tsuki ga deta, yoy yoy. That's like a basic one, but that, and my mom keeps like a tutu from when I was like 4. I did ballet, but I sucked at it. And I also love jewelry. So when I went to Korea, I have my grandfather, he passed away, but his Korean necklace. I don't have it with me today, but also they have like really beautiful, I think Chinese, like traditional jewelry, it's kind of similar. It's just in Hangul, in Korean language. Just like simple gold pieces. And yeah, I think it's always like a nice little touch, like gives it a little character to whatever you're wearing. So I like to play around like that, but yeah.
I want to normalize like wearing hanfu. You know hanfu? Like the warriors kind of dress, like for Chinese warriors.
Oh.
I want to like normalize that. Just wear it out.
Yeah, it could be cool.
Wear it out to like get some coffee or something.
Are we all cheering
cool.
Ryan on for this?
Okay, I'll do it.
Do it.
I think one thing that I really love about Ryan's content on social media, interesting thing is Ryan told me he hated social media. He thought social media was Satan, and
devil.
he refused to be on it until 2020. And then he found himself feeling like he needed to say something, and now has hundreds of thousands of followers, is an active voice on social media. And I think one of the things I love about your social media account is I meet people who I start having conversation, and then they start being like, oh, wait, there's this guy. He's half Chinese, half Black. And I was like, Ryan Alexander Holmes. I'm like, yeah, that guy. And it's so funny because maybe they don't have a sense of belonging in other spaces, but they find your page and they're like, this little space on the internet, I feel like I belong. I feel like I found a community. I look at the comments section and I'm hating on the same comments that Ryan's hating on, and I'm liking the same comments that Ryan is liking. For you, do you have places, other than places that you created for others, do you have places that you feel like a sense of belonging, or places that really make you help you feel like empowered to wear a new fashion style from time to time in your own life?
Therapy.
Congratulations to Ryan for joining the world of therapy. We're proud of him.
Therapy's dope, man. I don't know why it took so long. Yeah, on that journey too, it's like constantly creating new spaces. You're constantly tested because I'm a public persona and I post about my thoughts on Instagram, and that can be interesting, you know, like the whole Asian thing that's happening. I didn't want to contribute to the filth. I didn't want to contribute to the trend or hop on like the idea train of somebody else's idea that got a bunch of likes, so I'm going to talk about that. I wanted to create something that like is adjacent and unites all of us, because that's just noise. A lot of that is just noise, and the algorithm is created to prioritize rage bait because it's good for engagement. But like what I've found is like you can celebrate your culture, you can curate your own community, you can even create your own sense of humor that also can work on the algorithm. And it's like more challenging, but yeah, that's great. It's great that it's more challenging. You know what I mean? And it's more fruitful, and I feel more accomplished when like the comment section isn't a bunch of racists or a bunch of people fighting each other. You know, it's a bunch of people being like, oh, like, yeah, I I did, the most recent video I did was like with one of the Wasians that went to the Wasian gathering. I don't know if you guys know about that. I don't want to talk about it. But like there's a whole debacle about
I'm so ashamed for my
Wasianery.
I'm so ashamed.
Wasian. Anyway, there was a guy that was like at the pinnacle of that, and I reached out to him when I was in New York, and I was like, yo, let's make some content. Let's talk about this. What's your perspective? And then we had a talk, so we're on the same page. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's not even show any of that talk. Let's make something with the intention of like showing that we care about each other and showing that there is tension. Because like when I first started content creation, it was during Stop Asian Hate and BLM during COVID. That man who shall not be named was president, and he became president again. But he was president, and it felt like the whole world was crumbling, and I was at the center of it with, BLM and Stop Asian Hate, and then the animosity that was starting to circulate between the two. So I started talking about it. Well, I didn't start talking about it. I was complaining to my brother about it every day. And at a certain point, because it's COVID, at a certain point, he's like, bro, I got kids. I have a full-time job, man. Like, I'm not unemployed artist like you. He's like, maybe you should tell somebody else about this. And so he was the one that sort of encouraged me, despite my fear and like panic about what people would think if I talked about this, to like express myself and express how I felt in that moment, and calling out, certain prejudice in certain communities, and talking about my experience as a Blasian person. And that first post went viral. And then I'll admit, I got kind of addicted to the animosity. And I think that's given me so much perspective now, because I can feel the feeling that I felt of like being lured by the fact that something went viral and that people are angry, and sort of like trying to chase that. As opposed to now, what I've learned is like, you don't have to even really talk about it. You just show it. Just seeing me and my grandma, she's like 4'10", and I'm 6'3", and us just smiling is enough, So I infuse that feeling with everything that I do, and I make sure that the people that I work with and the people I surround myself with, Uprisers, Mariko talks a lot of shit about me, but she's cool. Like it's out of love. I'll keep her around. What was I talking about?
I don't know, but this is gonna be on YouTube later.
That's fine. Hi, YouTube. But yeah, I infuse it with that feeling of making sure that I prioritize joy and celebration and humanity, and finding the humanity, because I really feel like I could connect with anybody. There are people who are conditioned by certain ideologies, but that's not who they are. When you start talking to them about family and what they truly care about, and you just get rid of all the politics, especially in the beginning of the initiation of the conversation, now we're close. Now you can't say that crazy shit that you was gonna say, because you're talking to like a person that you see as human now. So I try to make all my content from that place, even if it seems silly as shit, because a lot of it is. Yeah.
I mean, give it up for Ryan, you guys. I think one thing that probably resonates with a lot of us is some of us may have a family member or a friend, right, who's that confident we go to when we're just like venting or frustrated. And then, you know, those people are the first parts of the community and they teach us how to build community with others. And then we show that to other people, leading with love, showing the family how we care for each other. And I think when I think about repair, I think about what you're kind of talking about, how sometimes we have to help others repair the relationships they have with people by showing what we're able to build with people that don't look like us or seem like an odd match. Like you and your grandma look like you guys should not be hanging out together, but there you guys are, like having a great time going out, and she's really, really, really funny. I love watching her content. I think, you know, Crystal mentioned earlier that a lot of people came up to her saying that they felt seen, right, when they were listening to her music, or they found out the girl singing in Japanese was this Black girl. Like, they're like, whoa, I'm so confused right now. And I wonder, Crystal, do you have places where you feel really seen? Like, you're someone I feel like is such a chameleon. You can move between so many spaces. You can fit in so many different areas. I remember one year you were like, I'm celebrating New Year's in Carlsbad. I'm like, oh, okay. And then another year, you know, she's singing on TV. And so it's crazy. But for you, what are the spaces that you feel like, you know, help you?
That is such a good question. And I kind of already answered it, but the tour, when I came to the States, something about it, I don't know, maybe it's because there's more of me here.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is, but I think subconsciously my body just kind of deflates.
Oh, man.
And I think when I stood on stage and saw so many, I mean, it was, you know, Black people, Hispanic people, a little bit of Japanese people. And I was like, oh, wow. And it's totally different the way, you know, in people in Japan, how they receive music at a show. They're very reserved. And it doesn't mean they're not enjoying it. They're just very polite. So they're like, hi, one song finished. But they're waiting to be told what to do. Like, they want to. So I've become a master at, okay, stand up, sing. From kids to, you know, older men and grandpas and grandmas. But yeah, just seeing, you know, Black girls and boys and singing in Japanese too. That was a trip too. Because most of my songs are maybe 80% Japanese, but I throw in a lot of English, and just I felt accepted being on stage. And yeah, I just felt like, okay, this is my people. So it was, you know, I turned 40 this year, and it was the first time kind of feeling that kind of safeness. And I thought that was beautiful. It was pretty eye-opening. Yeah.
Well, Crystal does not look 40, y'all. I think we all agree.
Black don't crack.
Aiden don't raise it.
Just all those genetics, just keeping you young forever. That's the real fountain of youth right there. I think one thing, you know, when Crystal's talking, obviously, you know, for any of you who have seen her in Japan, she's a huge performer. I remember one day we were at school and she goes, oh, my train was, I took my train today. And I remember thinking, what does she mean, my train? And there was a little train wrapped in her face because she had an album release or something.
It was a coffee. I was doing a commercial with a coffee.
And her face was like on the side of the whole train. And I remember being like, oh. And then I was like, did you take it? She's like, I didn't want to be late for class, so I just got on. And I was like, all right, very logical. I love it. I really do. I have more stories. We won't share them here. But I remember like when I moved to Japan and I was like 15, I remember being like really confused about like audiences and how they interact. And you know, Krista really is a master. Like she'll go to concerts and she knows how to work with people and interact with them. And she's been in this industry for a really long time. And despite the fact that we have so many mixed models and we have mixed musicians, some things have changed and some things haven't. Being in the industry for such a long time, where do you feel like Japan has changed in a way that you're like excited? And where are you like, I can't wait back to America on tour again?
Well, definitely Japan's a little slow. But there has been a big progress, I think. When I was a kid, I didn't see anyone that I could relate to on TV. There was no representation really. And so I remember I wanted to be like an actress that can sing and dance. But I was like, okay, there's no half Black, half Korean actresses on TV, so I gotta forget about that. But now, I think in the last 10, 20 years, there's so many mixed culture, like, what's the proper way to say it?
Third culture kids.
Third culture kids? Okay. Third culture kids, whether it's half Black and Japanese, half Black or Japanese and Hispanic. And there's so many models and TV personalities and athletes. Athletes make a big difference because I feel like it's the easiest way for people to connect. Like, oh, or especially when Obama was president, like any Black person, Obama. Before that, it was like Michael Jackson, you know. So now there's more of that. So it's like, oh, okay. And I think it's really important because kids, like Japanese kids, can be like, oh, that soccer player, he's half Black. That's super cool, you know? So that's become amazing. And another thing I think is maybe streaming. Like the way people listen to music. I think in Japan, it was highly just only J-pop. And if you wanted to listen to world music, you go to the world music section, you know? And I remember when I was recording my first few albums, the label would be like, please, if you're gonna throw in English, just throw in like one.
Just
one word.
Just one English.
Just one English kind of thing. But now, like my new song is almost fully in English. And also K-pop, I think broke a lot of the barriers. Kids nowadays, a lot of the Japanese kids, they can speak Korean because they have so many, they idolize a lot of the K-pop idols. So they're just listening to more and more foreign music. So their ears, I think, have advanced. So I don't know, I feel like people are more open to different genres, and yeah, it's growing in that way.
We'll give it up to K-pop, you guys, for opening doors for Japan. I know, really, for the world. I know that some of you guys want to ask questions and you want to take photos with Crystal and Ryan. We want to make time for all of that. I just have one more question. You know, today we're sitting in Lore, this amazing independent bookstore. There's a great selection downstairs. I think that both of you at some point should have autobiographies or biographies at some point. I think your stories are amazing. And if you, when you publish your book someday, Ryan, and have a book, what is the message, or what do you want people to take away from the book that you release?
These are some good questions.
Yeah.
You guys act so surprised, like you don't know me.
I know. The title of the book would be, "You Don't Know Me, Mother." I don't know. I mean, I would want, I think I would also talk about just my journey and my parents' journey and my ancestors' journey, and sort of wrap it all up in a way that can speak to anybody, which is what I try to do with my content. Is like, so much of my process in my content too is like normalizing, uplifting my own culture, because a lot of the voices in my head are conditioned from like not seeing myself. And you know, honestly, in America, whiteness being centered in media and like wanting to see myself, like loving certain music or loving certain genres of music or movies, but then not seeing myself in them. And then not knowing that I could create my own, not even thinking of that as a process. And then having Asian parents that said lawyer, doctor, or businessman. And that was it. You know what I mean? But I still chose to be an artist. And now my parents fully support me. Fully support me? Yeah, fully support me. But yeah, it would be about sort of like the very specific battles that we have that are never talked about. And making it not a victim-y story or like a woe is me or like, why doesn't anyone know about this? More it's just like, hey, I went through this and I'm human just like you, and this can be funny. And there can be levity in this. And it doesn't, even though I'm different than you, it doesn't have to be a story about like something that because you're not black and Asian like us, you can't feel and be moved by it and not see yourself in it, even if you're not. I hope that answered the question.
Who wants to get this book someday when Ryan releases it? Yeah. Crystal, what about you? Your book will be very different than Ryan's book. What about for you?
But I think it would have a lot of history, like on my mom's side. My mom's actually writing a book right now.
I cannot wait for that book.
It's so good. I can't wait for you guys to read it. We're trying to find a publisher, but yeah, she's wild. But just her stories are crazy, starting from her great-grandparents who came from, I mean, before it was the North and the South.
Yeah.
You know? And they went back to Korea, but they were like, oh, it's not as a dreamland as we thought it was. And they wrote my grandpa, like, don't come back, like, stay in Japan. And all of his family, they died. Yeah. So from that, I think it's just like it's about to be a Harry Potter series. It's going to be like 3-4 parts, starting from my mom's side and then my mom's career and then her having me and then going into my career. And my story is still going. So I really want to push mom's book out to the world first and then turn that into a series. I think it'll be a killer series.
You know what I think is really crazy about this? You guys heard earlier, right? She's talking about her mom, like, gave up her career and, like, helped her daughter debut. I'm over here asking her, like, when's your book coming out? She's like, oh, my mom has a book coming out. I'm about to take care of my mom, make sure my mom's book gets all the promotion it needs. And so that's this full circle of moment you could get,
It's
right?
so good. It's so fun. The way she wrote it, too.
Yeah. I'm really grateful for all you guys for being here today. I think that, you know, Ryan, the things that he was saying that I think is something we're all thinking about, right? Which is why we're in this room today. You know, the reason that we're such big fans of someone like Crystal, that, you know, whether she realizes it or not, or chose it or not, right? Well, she is someone that we look up to. She is a leader. She is a role model for many people, and I personally am so grateful to see her stepping into that role and choosing to be a part of today's discussion. One thing, a theme that has been coming up a lot has been this discussion about repair. It's a theme that we've been talking about at Uprisers when we talk about upcycling or repairing clothes or creating something from something that exists. But I think also when we have these conversations in a room like this, in a neighborhood like Leimert Park, in a business like the Lore, we are giving ourselves opportunity to have conversations with new people we've never met before, and the opportunity to maybe make some repair in our communities or with one another. So I really hope that all of you guys will walk away today, not only continue to follow Crystal and Ryan's journeys and buying Crystal's mom's book, but also that you guys will think about, where you can take these conversations in your own communities, in your own lives, within your own families, and jump into their comment sections and let them know, what you did with today's conversation and today's discussion. So let's give it up for Ryan and Crystal.